Hi, my name's Hugh Wheeler. I'm an oyster farmer in Merimbula Lake. I've been growing oysters here for over 30 years now, and we've been lucky enough to have purchased one of the SED oyster grading machines. We got some Commonwealth Government assistance when we bought it, and I think we've had it now for about 8 years. The machine has basically completely changed our whole outlook to being oyster farmers, quite honestly, because before this all our grading was done by hand, and hand grading, if you don't know anything about oyster farming, is probably one of the worst, most monotonously boring jobs you could ever think of ever doing in your life. This machine here does all the work that we used to do by hand with 3 or 4 of us in a week. We can do with this machine in 3 or 4 hours in a day. So the whole outlook of getting out of bed in the morning is a different thing these days. Because of the funding arrangement that we got from the Commonwealth Government, we undertook to allow other farmers to come and use the machine when we're not using it. The machine, I'm not 100% certain of its total capability, because I've never needed to use it to anywhere near its full extent, but it's certainly way and above what we require for our own personal operations here. So as part of the funding arrangement, we made it available to other farmers to come and utilise some of that downtime when we're not actually using the machine. We've currently got about 8 or 10 farmers in Merimbula Lake, Pambula River that come and use the machine very regularly, and that coordinates quite well with our market arrangement, where we can get oysters to our market, mainly in Sydney, 3 days a week. So between us all, we all get a reasonable opportunity to use the machine, and yeah, it's worked out really well. We've been able to, I shouldn't probably say collude, but we've been able to work towards having a set grade that sort of is a Merimbula grade, if you like, which is another thing that's physically impossible to do when you grade oysters by hand. So by having standardised grades, we can all compare and make sure that we're satisfied with the grade, and that gives us some strength in the marketplace, as well as being able to sort of suggest that our Merimbula grade, no matter which one of our farmers that are using my machine, the grade's all going to be pretty much the same. So, and that seems to satisfy them quite nicely. The way it works with the other farmers, we have a small diary. They come in and they put their name in the diary when it would suit them to use the machine. I allow the other farmers to completely operate the machine on their own, so I don't actually do any of the work for them. They come here and they completely do it all themselves, after a little bit of guidance from me in the first instance. And I'm always here pretty much to back them up if they get into trouble or something and they need a hand. I can always duck out and set them in the right direction. They pay us $6 per bucket, if you like, or $12 a bag for the use of the machine. Our enjoyment of what we do has risen exponentially above what the machine costs, way over and above. So yeah, to my way of thinking, I couldn't imagine being an oyster farmer these days without this sort of machine. And from what I've seen, other oyster farmers with different types of graders, from what I see, this one here is by far the best, most efficient. It is absolutely the best thing we ever invested in.
Yes.